What is up, my friends? This is Max with Gig Strategic. Today we're talking about 5 quick wins for your business with digital marketing. So we know that you as business owners or managers are busy, you don't have a ton of time, so these are designed to be 5 quick wins that you can do on your own. They're not too technical and they are free, and they should give you a pretty solid boost with your digital marketing presence. So the 5 areas that we're going to be talking about are: number 1, your Google business profile; 2, your reviews; 3, social media content; 4, your website content; and 5 is blogging. All right, let's jump right in. So number 1, your Google business profile. This is your home base in Google. It's the profile that links to maps, that links to your reviews and where you can put photos and info. These are the profiles that you see all the time when you're searching for other local businesses on Google. Even if you're a service area business that isn't tied to a specific address, you still want to have one of these. Right off the bat, you're just going to want to fill in as much information as possible in your Google business profile. A lot of these quick and easy things like your name, address, your phone number, your website, your hours, make sure they're correct. Make sure you're updating them if they're changing. Sometimes we see people have stuff in there that's months or years old. And there are some other things that are slightly more involved, but still very important as well. So that's going to be like your business category and attributes, the products and services that you offer. There's a line for a description that you can put in a couple quick sentence blurb as your description, basically your tagline, and question and answers. So you want to prompt consumers to ask questions on your profile and answer them. And you can even get those started by having your employees or friends put a couple of questions in there to start the fire. So basically, if you just type in Google My Business, Google Business Profile, it should take you to the login for that. Just go through all of these sections and make sure you filled in as much as you can. This is a good graph of all the factors that go into your local ranking. And the Google My Business, this is a little old from 2021, that Google profile is 1/3 of all of your ranking factors. It's the largest category by far. So just by getting your Google profile squared away, you're going to get a nice boost. Some of the other things after that, your reviews are the next most important at 16%. Link signals are next at 15%. Those are links from other websites that link to your website. On-page signals, so the actual content on your website. And then some other smaller things like personalization, behavior, and citations. And what does top ranking look like? Sometimes I'm talking about all this, but we don't know what it means or why we should do it. I think it's interesting sometimes to reverse engineer the top ranking, and I like to look at niches and see who's doing really well in those niches. The top 3 that came up, I have no connection to any of these, so I have no dog in this fight. But I mean, they all have great reviews, hundreds of reviews, or even thousands of reviews. These folks do over 1,000 reviews. Vast majority 4 and 5 star. They have nice photos, and if you go into their profiles, they're going to have all that information filled out, their correct hours, their information. It makes sense when you look at who's the top. People who have put a lot of effort into their profile. And if you're wondering why you're not coming up, take a look at your profile and see if your efforts are matching up. Here's a neat trick that not too many people know about. You can actually add posts to your Google profile as well. They can accept posts just like a Facebook page can. That's what these look like. So this is our profile for Gig Strategic being linked through here. Yeah, so these are posts going out, and this just gives you more chances to put more content in Google. Shows that your profile is up to date. It gives you more opportunities to put keywords in to get some of that SEO juice. So at the end of the day, when you put all these factors together, what does it look like? You might say, I can't know one of those single things is going to be the key for me. I'm just not going to bother. But it all paints a picture when you put it all together. So for example, we have 2 profiles here for electricians. Look at this one on the left, Carl's Electric. It has very little information. It has no photo. It's just a bare map listing. There's not even a link to the website. He doesn't have his hours. Nobody's asked any questions. Nobody's left any reviews. You look at that, and it paints a pretty poor image of that business. Are they alive? Are they open? Do they care about their reputation? Do they care about what they look like online? And you have to wonder, are they going to care about their electrician services? Like when they come to my house, is this the level of attention and detail they put into everything? Because that's not very trustworthy. But on the other hand, look at Ernie's Electric. They've got over 1,800 great reviews. They've got some really nice professional photos. They're linked to the map. They have correct hours and information. They've got questions, FAQs. They've even got reviews getting pulled in from Facebook and Angie's List. Just paints a very holistic, healthy picture of their business, and I would feel much more comfortable going with Ernie's based on that as opposed to Carl. All right, so that was the first section, Google Business Profile. Now we're on to number 2, reviews. These are mainly going to be on Google and Facebook, but there are other sites that can collect reviews as well, like Yelp or Angie's List. And once again, I wanted to show this same graph to show what the most important signals are in your local ranking. Of course, number 1 is Google Profile, like we just talked about, but reviews is number 2. So this is the local map pack I should specify. Sometimes you see different results in the map pack listing versus the regular organic results. So the reviews have a much stronger power in the map listing. Usually the ones you see on the map, those guys coming up first, they have a lot of great reviews. Again, what does top ranking look like? Sometimes I like to reverse engineer. I looked up dentists in Richmond, Virginia, the top 3 coming up, and I'm in a city like 60 miles away. So I have no dentist data in Richmond. This is not being personalized to me. I haven't been to any of these places, so this is a pretty pure results listing. The guys who are coming up first, they have a lot of great reviews. And 98 reviews, 135 reviews, 254 reviews. With that many real consumers saying great things about you, I feel pretty comfortable going with any of these dentists just based off those reviews alone. So it's a very powerful signal for trust when you have all that consumer buy-in and that consumer advocacy. Okay, and how do we get reviews? You might say, well, it's hard to get reviews from customers. Well, I bet that your customers, they're happy. They like you and your services. They're happy with what you have to offer, but they're also busy. Sometimes, it just slips their mind. It's not something that's always on the forefront of people's minds. So the businesses that get the most reviews probably have some kind of dedicated strategy for asking for reviews, and they just make it a part of what they do. So depending on the kind of business you're in, if you're like a service-based business where you're a local lawyer, you're a local electrician, you're a local plumber, local home contractor, you may not have a huge volume of jobs going on all the time, but if you compound all your customers over the course of a year, probably still be a lot of people. The best way to ask for reviews is we like to call it the moment of truth. So right after you're kind of finishing up the project, everything is falling in line, the customer is happy with what you've done for them, you say, hey, I think we've had a great success here with this project. If you don't mind, could you take 30 seconds and just leave us a great review on our Google profile? That'll really help us out in our rankings in Google and help other local customers find us so they can be just as happy as you are. And if you just ask sincerely like that, a lot of people are happy to do it. If you're doing a video call or you're on a Google Meet, just send them a link real quick right in that chat. Make it easy. Make it as easy as possible for them to do it. Because if you just say it kind of offhand, no one's going to remember. And there's also software out there to make this process easier. Of course, we have part of our local online presence package with Gig Strategic. We have a reputation management tool that allows you to see, monitor, respond to all your reviews, and also solicit new ones from your customers with email templates. But there are also other companies out there that have exclusive software just for this, like Bird Eye or Podium. Great, so that was number 2, review. Number 3, moving on to social media. All right, this one can be a bear. There's a lot to go into in social media, but I'm going to keep it pretty top level. Social media is a very interesting industry because it changes very quickly, and it hasn't even been around that long. Maybe only 15 or so years, really, in its present form, have we had Facebook even, per se. The reason I'm saying this is not your grandpa's social media is because it does change very quickly, but because it happens so fast, we still have the memory of what it was like in the early 2000s, early 2010s, when it was easy to post on Facebook or Instagram and just get a ton of likes and impressions and engagement right off the bat because it was new and flashy and a lot of people were on it and it wasn't totally flooded with advertising content yet. Part of our brain still feels like it should be that easy, but the reality is it's just not because these platforms have come to maturity. There are more people posting on them. There's tons of engaging content out there, so you just have to work a little harder to stand out. One thing we see, if you're serious about getting engagement and reach on social media, is it's becoming a pay-to-play platform. But at the end of the day, it's to be expected. These platforms are producing a valuable marketplace for people to come and interact and see brands. And if hundreds of people are putting out content, they have to organize it somehow. They can't show everything to everybody. So if folks are willing to pay for advertising space, then they're going to get prioritized. Yeah, as these platforms become more saturated, this is only the natural result. Facebook has straight up revealed that organic business page posts only reach between 2 to 5% of your followers. So even if people already like and follow your page, they're not seeing your content all the time. It may feel like you're just shouting into the void sometimes. You don't see that many people liking your content. It's not because it's bad. It's just because Facebook isn't showing it. Instagram getting a little better with the organic reach these days, but kind of heading in the same direction. This is to be expected, kind of, as I mentioned. But you can still win on these platforms with the right strategy. And at the end of the day, don't throw in the towel. You still need a basic social media presence, simply because it's becoming the ground floor of being active on the internet. Customers look to social media to build trust and brand awareness. It rounds out the picture of who you are as a business. If you're not posting on social media, if you don't even have profiles set up, it kind of sends the message like, are you open? Are you alive? Is there anything going on there? People just kind of expect it as part of the ground floor now. And these posts still influence customers. They still take action based on social media, even if it's not directly from a post. You're not always going to be able to trace a direct line. Someone saw this post and clicked on it and made a purchase, because people are consuming all kinds of media in all kinds of ways. But they see you on Facebook, they see you on Instagram, they start to get a feeling for your brand, then they go check out your website later, or they call you from your Google profile. All those things influence that decision to bring them to you. You know, it's crazy how much these days, I don't know if you ever just take a second and look around you when you're in a busy place, waiting in line somewhere. How many people are on their phones just scrolling away? They're giving away their attention. It's insane. And there are brands who are making dedicated plays to capture that attention and to be there on Facebook and Instagram as people are mindlessly scrolling. One more reason to have a basic social media plan and go across all the networks, because it gives you more authority in search engines. You know, Google really likes these sites. Google likes social media sites because they're huge, they have tons of authority, they have tons of information. So if you get your profiles squared away in those social media sites and you're actively putting out content, it's going to sync up with your brand in Google. For example, if we do a Google search of Gig Strategic, that's us. Of course, our own website listing comes up first. You always want your own website to be the first thing coming up. And our LinkedIn is actually the next result after that. And then our Facebook, then our Instagram, then our Twitter. So we get to dominate the whole first page of Google for our own search with our website and our social media profiles. Take control of your profiles, have them all linked up, put the same messaging on all of them. Then your profiles can get picked up in your Google Business profile. They'll all get linked in here. Paints a very strong picture of your brand. So that's why it's important, but what would a plan actually look like? Just take 1 to 3 hours every month to plan out some posts to go out over the course of the month, even if it's only even if it's only like once per week. Just get something going out there. You definitely want to use as many profiles as you can, and you can even put the same posts across these different profiles. So use your Facebook, Instagram, Google Business profile, as we saw. LinkedIn, if you're kind of a professional service-oriented business. Use a calendar or a post planning tool, so these posts can go out. You don't have to worry about checking your calendar to log in at the right time on the right day and post something. We have a calendar tool just like that in our basic local online presence package to make social media posting easier for you. Take advantage of video. Video is huge these days. Video is where the engagement is, and that's what people like to watch. That's what's going to hold their attention longer. Try to get some quick video in there, even if it's informal, short stuff on your phone. Do it vertically so that you can take up a lot of real estate, vertical size videos, because that's what people are looking at. They're on their phones too. Even if it's quick, informal things, people want to see the face behind the brand. People want to see a sneak peek into your day. Start to build up an audience. People like to do business with other people, with humans, with people they know and trust. Also, try to keep an eye out for new features that these platforms will bring out. Like Instagram is pushing Reels, YouTube has Shorts, Facebook has Stories now too. So even that very short form video content, try to watch out as they're bringing out new features, because if you can be an early adopter, your content could get pushed out to a much wider audience. Here's one other tip we like to do sometimes. Call it like a 5 or 25. Maybe you have 5 posts going out over the course of the month. Put a simple $25 boost behind them. Give you more reach, more engagement, more people are going to see it. And then it also gives you insight as to what people like to see the best. Also, once you get some engagement going, Facebook will see that, this is like an engaging account. It will push it out to more people naturally. That was basic social media posting. Moving on to number 4, website content. It's always good to just ask the big questions. What purpose should your website serve? Number 1, your website, you want it to inform your customers about your products and services above all else. You should attract new customers looking for your niche. It allows customers to easily contact you and make a purchase. It serves as a library of media content. It's great if you can just take the approach of putting some content in there every couple of months, pictures, videos, little things of what you've been working on. Then over the course of the years, you'll build up this huge library and the story of your business and your brand. And your website should also be answering frequently asked questions, and allows you to post updates about your hours, special events, promotions, anything else going on. 2 quick things I'm going to talk about with web content. Number 1 is customer-facing language. And number 2 is writing with SEO in mind. Does your website have customer-facing language? Sometimes this is something we run into when we're doing consultations on folks' websites. We're all business professionals and we're experts in our field, and we know the lingo and the terms of our field inside and out. So you just want to make sure that your website language is very clear, customer-facing, puts it in terms they can understand. I had a quick example from a cybersecurity company. I'm going to compare 2 different website blurbs I found. I believe that these guys know what this stuff is, and they're probably great cybersecurity engineers, but for a customer looking for services, you're losing me right away because it's just too complicated. This is a much better example of customer-facing language, in my opinion. With today's nonstop threats, cybersecurity is more important than ever. We use best-in-class services to build a custom strategy for your business, including cybersecurity, mobile protection, cloud backup, and recovery. We'll be monitoring 24/7, so you don't have to be. We'll make sure your business is secure online. Much better example here, it really shows the problem that they're solving for the customer. We're getting security, protection, peace of mind, makes it easier for me to understand. Some other things to think about when writing customer-facing language for the web: keep short, punchy sentences. Use simple vocabulary, short paragraphs with plenty of line breaks. Think about content that you'd like to read on the websites. It's usually pretty large text in short, simple blocks, headings and subsections to make it easy to navigate where you are, because people are scanning this kind of content really quickly. And frequent use of your keywords. So find ways to just naturally talk about your key SEO terms and use them frequently throughout your website. Tell the reader exactly what you want them to do. There's tons of distractions online. There's tons of ways for people to go to other pages or think of something else to do. Make sure it's very clear what your call to action is on your website. Book a consultation now. Book appointment now. Purchase now. Make those buttons frequent and easy to find. So writing with SEO in mind. So this is the other factor of website content, writing in a way that makes sure your content gets picked up by search engines. Sometimes it's good to think about your SEO strategy first and then plan out your content from there, as opposed to just trying to ram SEO optimizations in after the fact. So that means just think of like 5 to 8 key phrases that you would like to be found for in your local area. And let's say Richmond, Virginia. Make sure you're using terms like home contractor in Richmond, deck builder in Richmond, basement remodeler in Richmond, bathroom remodeling in Richmond. Use these words frequently throughout your website. Now talk about your geographic area, like I just mentioned, kind of in that same phrase. Make sure your page titles and headers are all well organized and that they are referencing those key phrases and your geographic area. So at the end of the day, there are no SEO tricks anymore. Kind of when people started being aware of this 10 or 15 years ago, it was easy just to shove some keywords in there and all of a sudden you're at the top of Google. There are now people in pretty much every industry and every city who have really nicely built websites with good content and good links, good profiles. And what Google's trying to do at the end of the day is connect consumers with trustworthy businesses in their area. So you just have to show Google everything you do. Have some nice, organized content on your website that talks about everything that you do. Within web content, we're talking about customer-facing language and writing with SEO in mind. All right, final section, blogging. 10 years ago, this is kind of like the not your grandpa's social media anymore. 10 years ago, I felt like blogging was this really hot new thing and you could just write a couple posts and start to get a bunch of traffic instantly. Not quite the case anymore, just as, again, the internet is getting more mature, and more people have more content out there. But there are still plenty of reasons to have a blog. Number 1, search engines prioritize sites with regular content updates. So you're used to the idea of putting regular updates in your social media. You can do the same thing with your website. You might not always have a ton of information to update the regular website content, but a blog is a great way to have ongoing content that you're updating. It's another chance, more opportunities for your keyword. The more you talk about your service areas and the things that you want to be found for, write specific blog articles about different elements of those, and it just gives you more chances to come up in Google for those kind of searches. It's a way to build more trust with potential customers. Say 2 websites are pretty much equal. One is just a website, and the other has about the same amount of regular content, but they also have a regular blog. That gives you more chance to talk about who you are, what you do, build trust with potential customers. Number 4, there's no pressure to be super formal with blogs. This can be a chance to delve into some other kind of side topics that you wouldn't normally talk about on like the regular page of your website, for example, or new industry happenings going on. You can talk about fun, quirky things that happen over the course of the day. And number 5, at the end of the day, it's a rewarding new habit. I don't know if anyone else likes to write. I do kind of like to write myself, and it feels good to get a blog out there, to put something on paper, to organize your thoughts. It feels good. It's a good practice for you. It's a good practice for your website and your SEO. So the 5 things we've talked about: your Google business profile, your reviews, social media profiles, website content, and blogging. course, the question at the end of the day, if you're spending time on these, you want to know, do any of these actually make me money? It's a tough line to draw. Not everything we do in business is always going to have a direct one-to-one correlation for ROI. You need all these things to have a business. You can't get rid of them because you can't just trace a direct ROI. There are things that you do that are just healthy and professional that are simply a part of being in business these days. So who would you rather be? Let's take a look at two examples. Business A, they don't put a lot of credence into this kind of stuff. They don't really think it does that much. Maybe they got an okay Google profile and a website content, but it's hard for them to see any direct results from any of these things. Or you can be like Business B and say, you know what? I know this stuff is important. I know people are spending tons of time online these days. I just want to make sure that my web presence is as maxed out as possible. Overall, you have a really strong web presence. And that's what customers like to see. All those things go into the decisions that customers make about who to do business with. And you will make more money at the end of the day as a result.